Hello, I'm Justin Smith, and I'd like to share a few helpful tips for component PMI. I have a basic lever assembly here, and I want to make some existing PMI visible in the assembly. If we zoom in, we can see these edges are a little flat and the assembly is not completely loaded in. So if I select the assembly and click Show Exact, you can see everything's a little more rounded out, because it is loading precise data rather than faceted data. However, this does not fully load the assembly. In the preview window, we can see there is some PMI in the rear and front lever. If I select the assembly and component fully, the PMI for these parts will show in the assembly because there is a filter already created to load the PMI. This doesn't show all of the PMI, so I go to the MBD navigator. If I select the PMI in the navigator, it will also highlight it here in the assembly. We can see our custom view contains PMI while the other standard view does not, like the isometric view, for example. This is because the PMI is view dependent. I want the isometric view to contain PMI like how it's shown here. So I can select these linear dimensions and right-click them. If I select In All Views, this PMI will appear in all the views for this assembly. But if I go to In Views, I can select the isometric view. You can see under Status, it contains PMI. And if we go to the isometric view, the linear dimensions are shown. In larger assemblies, it can be more difficult to find the exact PMI you are looking for. So I go to the MBD query and search for PMI with a rule-based query. You may not have the option to find PMI based on type, so we can select More. Then I search through the different MBD queries. Once I've found it, I can select it and we get a short description. Now I can select the type of PMI to search for and hit OK. You can see the PMI that fits the PMI types I selected appear for the front and rear lever, along with the views that the PMI is displayed in. I can remove the linear dimensions I added to the isometric view earlier. I can also select all of the PMI for the rear lever and display them in our custom view. Then I'll clear my results and go back to the MBD navigator. We still have our custom view with PMI, and you can see the isometric view no longer has PMI. If I select the custom view, you can see down here in dependencies, all the PMI in the view is listed. If I wanted to only have the linear dimensions listed, I can filter the dependencies to only include linear dimensions. Notice that this shows linear dimension 8. The 8 is the feature item number. I can delete that since I'm looking for linear dimensions. Now we can see down in the dependencies, only linear dimensions are shown. I could select to have these in particular views from here. If I select this, you can see it still highlights it in the assembly. In this demonstration, I made existing PMI visible within different views. I then demonstrated how to find specific PMI in larger assemblies and add them or remove them using MBD queries or dependencies in the MBD navigator. Thank you.